Hey, how are you?
I'm good, and you? It's been a while.
It has been a while. Where are you now?
I'm in Canada.
You're in Canada now. Okay.
Yeah.
Montreal?
Yes.
Okay. Everything's going good up there?
Yeah, all good. Where are you? Are you in Lebanon?
No, I'm not in Lebanon today. I'm in Maryland today. Actually, I haven't been back in, it's rare, but I haven't been back in a few weeks, to be honest.
Oh,
But I am going, I think like a week from Tuesday or Wednesday or something like that. I can't stay gone for very long nowadays. That's
you're
just
there
the way it
most of the
works.
time.
That's the way it works for me.
Yeah, that's nice though.
But it's good to see you. All right, so let me thank you for coming. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Before we even start, I want to tell you why I wanted you to come on the Try Life On podcast and why I'm so drawn to you as a person and your story. And that'll give you a good understanding. But so here's what I found out when I started looking into your background. After we met each other and we talked and all the things, right? What was so compelling to me about your story is that it was similar um, to mine in that there was a parallel in what you were doing in your life, right? You weren't just in consulting or just in sports. There's many different aspects to you, and I think that's what a lot of people want, but they are scared to go after it. So I wanted to introduce your story. So here's what I found. You are a two-time Olympian representing Lebanon at the Rio 2016 Games and Tokyo 2020 Games. You've competed on the world stage at world championships and international meets across multiple continents, which is very cool. You've held Lebanese national records in distance freestyle events like 400 meters, 800 meters, and 1500. And I know you competed collegiately at McGill University in Canada while you were studying and training at a high level. But at the same time, you were building a professional career and you worked at a consulting firm in Montreal in people advisory services, all while you were part of an athlete career transition pathway program that allowed you to train and compete internationally while developing as a consultant and an athlete. And that's the part that really stopped me and what I wanted people to hear because most people believe life is this linear thing. You're either an athlete or you're a professional. You're either chasing the Olympic qualification or you're climbing the corporate ladder. And for you, you chose both. And that resonates with me because, as my listeners know, I had parallel lives for a very long time: corporate executive, military officer, law enforcement officer, real estate investor, all at the same time. Not sequentially, but simultaneously doing everything at the same time. And I love hearing more stories of people who've attacked life in a similar way. And that's why I wanted to get you on the podcast.
Well, amazing. I'm very happy to be here, and thank you for inviting me.
Of course, of course. All right, so let me ask you a question. Let's start here. When did swimming first become serious for you? Like, how did that even start?
So, when I was young, so I'm the daughter of two amazing parents, and
Yeah.
I'm one out of four. I have two sisters and a brother. So when we were all young, we were very close in age. We're still very close in age. That doesn't change.
Mm,
Our parents put us in so many activities. One of them was swimming. So we did learn how to swim. We did other sports as well. It would change over the years. But we started at a very young age. So towards the age of four, I started swimming. And I guess with the years, it started becoming more serious as we started competing for fun. And
mm,
then changing coaches and having coaches. We had this coach who came from he was French Algerian. He came to Lebanon to help the level of swimming in Lebanon. And he
mm.
took us in as well. So that made it even more serious. And so my first international competition was a Arab Championship. I was very young. It was in 2010, so I was 11. That
Okay.
was my first race. And from there, it started picking up in terms of seriousness and like stopping other activities for swimming and focusing mostly on swimming.
Got you. Got you. So at what point in that process do you realize this could go all the way to the Olympics? So did that even come up early?
It did at a young age. It were conversations. I remember, I think we were watching the 2008 Olympics on TV with my parents. or 2012, I don't know. I think 8 because I was pretty young. And we were watching the races after lunch on TV. And I remember telling my parents, like, imagine we're there one day. And then they're just like, inshallah, you know? And
Right.
little me would have never thought, like, this is actually happening. But things did start moving fast, like around the age of 14, 15, when I became at a higher level, like everything became more serious. You have time to look more into like what you're doing and like the trainings and stuff. And so
Yeah.
at that point, like when you start racing with the people who are at the 18 plus level as well, that's when things started looking more like, oh, it's happening. It's next year. Like my first world championship was in 2015. And that's where like things started hitting like, oh my God, like you're there, like it's happening, you're working towards it. But yeah, no, it was always in the picture and it was always in the goals with my coach at the time. Like we were putting Tokyo as the goal. And so we as like the goal of my career, you know.
Yeah.
But Rio did happen beforehand. So yeah.
Oh, so you were expecting 2020 to be the goal, but you slid into the Rio Olympics, not having that as the image?
So at a very young age with my coach, like we were talking about, you know, like the big vision, like where like would we want to make it. So it
Yeah.
was Tokyo, like Tokyo was the main thing. And it was a
Yeah.
previous coach. It wasn't the coach that I was swimming with in the past few years or the past few years in Lebanon either. Um, uh, but yeah, that was the big picture. And then, yeah, I think Rio came in. Of course, I was working towards it, but the biggest goal was Tokyo.
Got you. Got you. So when you were growing up, did you see yourself only as an athlete? Like, was that the path that was in your mind of what you were going to be? Or was there a multi-dimensional part of you as well growing up?
No, I would say there was a multi-dimensional part of me as well. You know,
Mm.
you've seen the culture in Lebanon. You see how it is. Like, education is really important there. Like, so I guess in the culture of the country and like the way I was raised with my family, like education was always important, career was always important, what we want to do in life, how we want to grow up, like the things we want to do. So we never really had to choose between either. My parents did everything for us to have both, which I'm very grateful for. Like I think
Mm.
this has been a privilege. It wasn't easy. I'm not gonna say it's easy. Like in a country like Lebanon where you don't have sports study school type of schools or you know dual type of careers that programs that would support, it was challenging. Like at times I had to go at 5 a.m. to practice and then from
Yeah.
practice go to school, then stay in school till 5 p.m. and then go from school to the gym, and I would be eating in the car and then do gym, and then after gym like swim again, and then like so I would have left the home at 5 a.m. and then be back around 9 p.m. like not having touched my homeworks yet.
Yeah, you had a lot going on.
Yeah, so it wasn't the easiest, especially, you know, like in Lebanon, you've been exposed to our country and like how it is there. So like you don't have this infrastructure or these programs that support. It is
Right.
changing a bit slowly though. But yeah, so it was challenging, but I was like we were able to do it.
Yeah. I think I certainly did. I have to be honest. I took it for granted that every country has the kind of infrastructure and resources that I sense, let's say, around the US Olympic program or the Canadian Olympic program. And then you go to a place like Lebanon where the resources may not be as robust. There's support there, I get it, but it's not the same as what people see like on the news or international media and all the things.
Yeah, no, it's not what people expect, especially in small countries like ours. I think
Yeah.
there's a lack of structure in general, which makes it more like the pressure for things that should be more administration stuff or things that are just there from the beginning. They are more on the families of the athletes rather than on the like
The families
infrastructures
push
and
it.
programs. Yeah, so like a lot of efforts are like you see a lot of the parents involved in sports for their like kids in a way that you wouldn't see in other countries. So a lot of the pressure falls on the families, on like the athlete themselves, the parents.
Yeah, that doesn't come up a lot. Just in like even the Olympics that are going on now, you don't hear a lot about that kind of thing. You just kind of see the end show stage of what's going on. Um, so that said, let's leap to the world stage a bit. What was it like representing your own country at the Olympic level?
Oh, it's just amazing. Honestly, like for just being able to do what you love and like representing your country doing what you love, like it's just such an amazing feeling. I think it's a privilege to be able to put yourself in positions like this where you can represent a whole nation
Yeah,
just by doing something like you love doing. And like putting all the hard work, like I always say sports are so pure because like you have to do the work, you have to show up, you have to be there and like do the work again and again. And so it's such a pure way of like make like getting, like the fatigue, the tired, like the things you go
yeah,
through, the obstacles, like just that feeling at the end always feels so pure. So it was always amazing to just like represent Lebanon, like travel around the world just to raise that flag. So
yeah.
always a privilege, always love it. And still like I recently was able to go for an athlete forum representing
Okay.
Lebanon there. And it was the first time since I retired from swimming where I'm representing Lebanon in the sports world. So that feeling came back and I was like, okay,
It
like,
came back. Yeah,
exactly. And
yeah.
so, doing things you love and like representing your country, it's just amazing.
That's awesome. Is there something that sticks out, like a moment in Rio or a moment in Tokyo that sticks out with you as like, oh man, I'm really here.
Yes, I think the first thing that came to my mind, I was very young in Rio. I was 16, 17. I was 17. It was 10 years ago, exactly. Like this year is the
Wow.
10-year anniversary of the 2016 games.
Yeah.
Um, and I think, like growing up in Lebanon and training there with the equipment and like facilities that we have was not easy. It was very
Yeah.
challenging. And
Yeah.
so I think when I remember when we were going from the airport to the Olympic Village, we were in the bus. So when we arrived at the airport in Rio, like we were waiting for other athletes that were arriving around the same time. And so I'm in the bus just waiting for other athletes for us to go to the village. And my brain like was switching between like little Gab and like current Gab.
Yep.
And for
Yep.
like the whole ride, I had this like small like oh my God, what? I'm here. Is it happening? And then
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
Gab, like you're here, you did the work, blah blah blah. And then like 5 seconds later, I just get this excitement again. Oh my God, I'm in Rio. Like, it's happening. Like it's
Yeah.
actually happening. So yeah, that moment always comes back because, I could feel little me getting excited, but like current
Yeah.
me was more like, okay, you've done the work, like you've been through it all, like knows it. So little me was more like the emotional excitement side, and then like current me was more the logical side that like, step by step you got here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of a small emotional roller coaster. I was sitting there, no one could tell what was happening internally, but internally I was going up and down.
I bet. I bet. I clearly have never been on the Olympic stage, but I did play college football and one of the US college football and one of the meccas of college football in the United States is the University of Michigan. So I played for the University of Virginia for a few years. We went up to Michigan and that stadium holds at the time 75,000 people, which is insane. And I
Wow.
remember walking into the stadium and looking around like, oh my God. I was more of a fan than I was a player because you just couldn't believe that you were actually there. So I can get a little sense of what you're talking about, although I definitely didn't do it at your level. All right, so let me pivot to the parallel path decision and how that all came to be. Um, when did you decide you weren't going to wait until after swimming to build your professional life? Or sorry, you actually started swimming at McGill. So just walk us through that path, right? I know you went to McGill. I know you started swimming at McGill, but you also got hired into the professional world. So how did you figure out that, hey, I'm going to have to do these two things at the same time?
So I moved to Canada for university to do my bachelor. That was in 2017. And one of the reasons I wanted to leave Lebanon was to get that experience in terms of like swimming, like, having a bigger team, like more structure around it, and like just having a different experience in terms of sports.
Yeah.
And as well, like I wanted a good university on the educational side. So coming to McGill, I swam in the varsity for the 4 years of my bachelor, and then I continued swimming with the team for the next 3 years while working at EY.
Yes.
So I think it was always a given that I will be working at some point or like pursuing a professional career. Like it was always in my plan, so it never came across that I wouldn't be following that path.
Mm.
And in terms of balancing these both, I think my plan was more after Tokyo 2020 to probably retire from swimming and then, go into the professional corporate world. And the thing is, with Tokyo, it was in 2020, which I wouldn't have graduated yet. But then with COVID,
Oh,
it got
okay.
postponed to
Okay.
2021. And that's when I graduated, so in May 2021. And what happened there is with the COVID pandemic, I didn't want to end my career in that way. So
Mm.
the last 2 years, you couldn't train the way we were supposed to train. You didn't have access to the pools as many times as you wanted. And just having to say
Oh,
goodbye
because of
to the
the COVID restrictions.
Yes, exactly.
Oh,
Like
okay.
at some point, like we were allowed to be just 4 people in the pool. Some weeks the pools was closed. Other weeks it was you can be there but no coaches. So it was not the greatest environment in terms of like ending your career. And so part of me didn't want to say goodbye to the sport in this way. And
Okay.
at the
Okay.
same time, I was graduating, and at the same time, I was applying for jobs, and everything was happening. Like it was my last semester. I'm doing my finals. I'm applying for jobs. I'm training, and I know that, and the Tokyo Games were around the corner. So like I was preparing for that, and I'm like, oh my God, like, am I saying goodbye to the sport this way? Am I applying to jobs? What am I gonna do? So I had this small little crisis, and internally, I was like, I'm not gonna stop. There's no way I'm stopping the swimming now. But how am
Mm.
I gonna do it with work? And then I get this email one day while I was applying for consulting positions. I get this email from EY saying they had a program and they still do. It's an EY athlete program where they
That just
hire.
came, or you had researched something, or it just
It
showed
just
up.
came. It just showed up. So
Oh,
they
the
were
universe was
hiring.
looking out for you.
I know, right? I always say this was sent from God. Like, when things are so aligned and things
Yep.
work out, like I'm always like, okay, it's meant to happen. And I
Yep.
think this position at EY was always meant to happen. So I get this email and they have this EY athlete program where their goal was to hire 20 female Olympians globally. So EY Ernst Young has offices in almost every country in the world. Um, and so I was one of the 20 female Olympians that they hired.
Wow.
So I got that email and then I did my interviews. So the process was a bit long, especially that I was going to Tokyo in the middle of the process. I remember I did one interview right before going to the airport for a competition. And
Hmm.
and it happened. And after the Tokyo Games, I came back, and a month later, I got the job. I did my last interview, got the job, and started working at EY. And honestly, like amazing company. So grateful for this for the team I have. They are very respectful of athletes, very respectful of everyone in general. Like it's a very flexible company. As long as you're someone who delivers, they are always there to support like your personal
Yeah.
goals. Like,
Yeah.
they're very flexible. You have the time to like be who you want to be outside of work and like design this life that you want for yourself. And I think that's what is making me stay. Like I've been there for
You're
4 years
still
and a half
there.
now. I'm
You're
still
you're
there.
still
It's
there.
been four
Okay.
years and
Yeah.
a half. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have an amazing team. The leadership of my team, like very supportive. And so it's been great. And it is, work is work and it gets intense at times and you have to do the hours. But just having that culture that supports your goals,
Yeah.
like lets you do it. So in the beginning, I was still training full time. For my first 3 years at EY, I was still training. So, 10 practices a week and like full-time job wasn't easy.
But
Um,
what does that look like day to day? Like if you're was so run me through a normal weekday when you were doing both.
so 5 a.m. I'm up. I'm at the pool by 5:20. I have a workout. It's a 2-hour practice plus the warm up before and the stretching after. So let's say 2 hours and a half roughly. And then I go back home. Uh, 8 hours of work day. I would leave early, a bit earlier to go to the second practice and
Mm,
then come back. And that's the nice part. Like I had this flexibility with EY to do so. I would go back, train again, and then come back. And if I still have work, finish it. Um, that was on the days where I had double practices. Other days it was just one practice. So it either would be in the morning or
that's a
in the
lot.
afternoon. It was a lot. Like my first
It's just a lot.
like it's not sustainable. I knew I wasn't gonna continue this my whole life, and I knew I was
Yeah,
gonna stop at some point. But I wanted to make the most out of it, and I was able to train for 3 more years after uni. And now it's been almost 2 years that I'm retired.
2 years. It's crazy to
Yeah,
hear you say you're retired at 27 from something.
I know. But swimming is a young sport.
I know. But
Yeah.
it's an enormous, I mean, the age doesn't matter. It was an enormous amount of work. But I'm wondering if EY, did they adjust expectations for you professionally? Did they flex a bit or, you still maintain the same standards as everybody else who was working there as well?
No, yeah. In terms of standards, I think it was maintained, and it was never a conversation. I And one thing I would say is, and studies have been coming out, and you see it probably in the corporate world now a lot, like they are trying to recruit more athletes because
Mhm.
you have so many skills that can just be transitioned from like the sports world into the working world. Like
Of
there's so
course.
many
Yeah.
things you can like just lift and shift and you can see it like it's gonna be reflected in your work, the way like your structure, your resilience, the way you think. So even now, like I've seen a lot of articles on LinkedIn where a lot of companies are starting to want to hire more athletes because they've seen the results of that. So yeah, in terms of performance, it was never it never even came up as a topic to like
That's
have
awesome.
anything adjusted.
I think it's cool that EY one had that program, had the Olympian program where they were hiring people into the company. A lot of times, let's say with my clients, lifestyle design clients or career clients, people emphasize the biggest salary, where I tend to push people to emphasize the biggest amount of flexibility that a company will give you to be what it is that you want to become.
Exactly.
Yeah, so EY culturally maybe is like Accenture as well. When I was at Accenture, but the reason I stayed at Accenture for 25 years was not the salary. I actually got 7 offers over my career to leave the company for more money, and I never left. And the reason I never left was because the company was giving me flexibility to do things like be a police officer, or go do my military service, or take leaves of absences and come back. It sounds like that's what EY did. And look, you're still there and you're still happy with what they did for you.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And recently, I had the opportunity to go with EY to an exchange program. I think I was telling you that last time we met, like, which is a bit more than a year ago, I told you I would want to do this at some point in my life. And it
Mm.
happened. I went to South Africa with EY for 3 months. So I had
You
this
did.
mobility. Yeah, I had this mobility program where it's like an exchange semester in university. So the
Okay.
same. So I went and I worked in the office in Johannesburg and Cape Town and was working there as a consultant for those offices for 3 months. So it was just in September to December.
Amazing. That's again, I tell people look for things where you have international exposure, where you can do different things across landscapes or what have you. And here's another example. Just as we start to wrap up, I want to talk to you a little bit about identity. Your identity has shifted a bit, I would assume, since you've kind of left Olympic competition and world level competition. And now maybe you're focused more on just professional. I don't know if you're doing something else entrepreneurially or what have you. But was that difficult or just talk about that transition a little bit of I don't know if I call it shutting down an identity, but a certain part of your life that you had to put down in favor of now focusing mainly on the professional. Can you speak to that a bit?
Yeah, definitely. I think the first part after I stopped swimming, definitely there was an adjustment. There were things that I needed to sit with in terms of reflections and like going through things and thinking about who you want to be, like what you want to do next. And, after 15 years of competitive swimming, like, uh,
15. Wow.
yeah, I think 15 and 21 years in the sport of swimming, but
Yeah.
15 competitive.
Wow.
Um, so you have a lot to think about and a lot to reflect on. Uh, and I would still consider myself an athlete. Like at the end of the day, it's an identity. It's the way you live. You take those decisions, like the type of person you want to be. And I'm still very active. Like I train every day.
You're still training.
Not swimming, so I do other things now.
Ah, okay. Okay.
But yeah, like I'm trying to try new stuff. One big thing I love is traveling. So in the past year, I did travel a lot, and I did make sure that I have a lot of experiences. Like in swimming, you had to sacrifice a lot of things because you don't have the flexibility in terms of time and like location. So like anything that I wanted ever to do, like now I'm using this time and flexibility and like the fact that I have more space in terms of doing
Yeah.
things just to achieve those stuff. And I always tell my friends even like, you have seasons in life. Like there might be a time where like you are focusing on one or two things more than everything else, but like those other things can be very minimal. And then like another season, that's where like you put more effort in those other things and bring like, I don't know, less effort or less focus on another category. And that's what I've been doing. Like from time to time, I keep reflecting, okay, what's missing now in my life for me to be
Mm.
the person I want to be, and see where I should put more effort for the month or for the quarter or for like, the year. And yeah, and in terms of identity, I know you mentioned that like
Yeah.
you can design your life and you can be whoever you want to be. And one thing I believe in a lot is knowing how your internal self work, or like how you as a human work,
Mm.
because that will help a lot in designing that person and actually becoming it. Like one big thing that I started like reading a lot about is the brain, like your own brain. So like we have this neuroplasticity, and like when you start
Yes.
understanding it, it's
Yes.
crazy how you can shift yourself to become more and more the person you want to be, and like this identity that you want for yourself in every situation, and not just reacting to what the environment or life gives you. No, but like actually designing this person that you want to be through how you're acting and like the actions you make. So yeah.
And so I want to double down on the whole neuroplasticity thing. We are neuroplastic. We can rewire. We can start a new path to be something totally different. I wasn't doing media projects and executive producing TV stuff 10 years ago. I just started probably in the last four years I've gotten into the space. I think it's very difficult for people. I'm surprised to hear how much you've transitioned, because it's very difficult for people to leave that dominant thing that's been part of their life for so long. And I get it, because you've worked on it for so long, your entire life. Again, it's not Olympic level stuff, but the football thing for me was a complete passion. So when I stopped playing, when I graduated from University of Virginia at 21, I did try out for professional football. It didn't work out. And then when I was 26, I went back to grad school so I could see if I could try to get another workout. And it didn't pan out, and that's okay. But I was having a very difficult time leaving that identity in favor of, no, you can be more things in life. You just have to work your way towards it. And if it sounds like you figured that out about neuroplasticity and what your mind can actually do.
Honestly, like it's not like these thoughts haven't came to my mind, like towards the end of my career. I was like, what if I add one more
Yeah,
year, like what
of
if
course.
I add one more competition? But at some point you just feel it in you and like it's time to just let go. And so I did do my last race in 2024 and then like, hang those goggles.
Yeah.
um, and I think also for me, the fact that I was able to work while swimming gave me
Yeah.
kind of a taste of how life is after like swimming
Yep.
or after sports. So I knew there was so much out there. I knew there was so much more that I can do. When you're working or when you start something new, you see how many opportunities are there. And that many times I had to choose between like swimming and other stuff. So
Mm,
just being aware of all those things and like all the potential that's out there, the things that you could do, the things that you could try, the people that you could meet, the opportunities that could come your way. Like I knew there's much more that I haven't touched yet and that I don't know yet. So I was a bit excited to have more time for this. And I think definitely the beginning was hard, but then
yeah.
just having more space in terms of time with myself and like time to think, time to rest, like the difference between not swimming and swimming, like crazy.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
I would like, when I was swimming and working, it was a very packed schedule. So I was always on the go, nonstop, go, 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 go. Like even when I'm going somewhere, my brain keeps on working. What is left to do? What do I need to do next? Now, like sometimes when I go to the gym or like I go to a workout, I'm walking without, my brain is calm. There's nothing to think about. So it's also nice to have that space to reflect more on things and like plan more the things you want to do and what is next for you to try. So, every season has its new stuff or new challenges or
Yeah.
new opportunities. And I think we just need to embrace it. Like not look at the past and be like, oh, I don't have this anymore. No, it's more what from that past that I've learned can I bring now? And what else do I want to try? And I always say this, there's so much out there, there's so much in this world. So there's always something new to try. And if you don't try it, you will never know if it's something that you like it or not, or that you want to be like part of your identity or not. So yeah.
Perfect. And you keep saying if you want to try it, and that's exactly what the podcast is about, trying life on, trying something different, shifting your identity, uh, not upgrading, but adapting your personality to maybe trying something totally different in this world. You've clearly done it, not moving from, you ran it parallel, but certainly things have changed now since the Olympic days and the swimming days. What's next for you beyond the pool? Is it focusing on EY, or might you have some other ventures outside of traditional work as well?
So honestly, my past year, it was all about experiences. I wanted to put myself out there and like experience more.
Yeah.
Um, for the next year, I think what I'm focusing more on is where I want to get more involved in the future. So in terms of swimming, for example, and sports, I do want to be there, like have a foot in the door, especially in Lebanon, and see how, all those lessons that came from being an athlete
Of
for
course.
my country would fit in and like how we could have an impact as athletes on the culture in our country and like the culture of sports there. So I think this is more not from the professional side, but more like things, ad hoc things on the side that could fit in my schedule and like my plans. But yeah, I think I'm going there. I've been having a lot of thoughts around this lately. So yeah.
I can imagine. I love how you are evolving, and that's why I love your story so much, and that's why I wanted to bring you on the podcast. And I know you're up in Canada, and you've been based there for a while, especially having gone to school there. But I love that you are still connected to Lebanon and your upbringing and your family. You have a very strong family dynamic, which I'm very, very fond of. But that's why I wanted you to come tell your story because it's a very unique one. So I really appreciate the fact that you came.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Hey guys, this is Maurice, host of the Try Life On podcast, and thank you for listening to another episode. I hope you are finding it useful in helping you design your own lifestyle that you don't need a vacation from. If that's the case, please consider dropping a review for me, whether in Apple, iTunes, or in Spotify. drop a review, put some stars on it, give me some feedback on how I can make the podcast better, what information you are looking for. I am doing my best to get information to you on the Try Life On principles, the 5 freedoms, how to build lifestyle, travel hacking, all of it. And I want to do it for you. So please do a review for me. And until next time, my name is Maurice Philogene, and this is the Try Life On podcast. Peace.